OCF. Thomas Retzios here, and you join me on this crisp autumn afternoon. Welcome to the first part of a short series we're going to be having as an introduction to Byzantine chant in the Orthodox Church. Whether or not you're familiar with Byzantine chant, this is going to be a great introduction for those who just want to learn a little bit more about what's going on in their churches. I sat down with Father Niko Tzetzis of the Holy Trinity St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church in Cincinnati, Ohio. So let's head to that. Father Niko, thank you so much for joining me on this Zoom call. I'm excited to talk about chant. So what is your, we need to get your credentials first. What is your chanting cred? What is your credibility?
Oh gosh, none? No, I mean, I grew up singing, right? I don't have any, there are many people better credentialed for this, for this job, in the sense that there are people who have really devoted a lifetime of study to the Psaltic art, to chanting. I grew up singing, right? I grew up singing in a Western style, grew up with classical training, followed by, musical theater training in college, was in an a cappella group. So I was singing all the way up through my years in the seminary, singing in a distinctly Western style, and loved music, loved singing. Got to the seminary and realized, okay, I'm really, really good at holding Yison. I'm really, really good at holding a drone note, holding one note. The years of a cappella, beyond I think anything else, just kind of got me really good at holding one note steadily. And that was my job really for the first few years of the seminary. I would say my expertise isn't really in the training of chanting as much as it is in just the practical. I chanted at the seminary. I chanted on recordings, and I've chanted. I chanted then as a youth director and a pastoral assistant in a parish for, 6-ish years. Now I don't chant quite as much as a priest, but I still love Byzantine music. I still love church music and chanting.
For both of us coming from the Greek Orthodox Church background, once I got to college and I started going to an Antiochian Orthodox church, and I've gone to a bunch of different other flavors of Orthodox churches. The different jurisdictions of Orthodoxy have chanting in different ways, or I think some don't even have chanting in it. Am I correct in that?
So it depends how we're defining it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, I know all of the Orthodox churches have some kind of music, well, all have a musical tradition. All of them have a musical tradition of some sort. How it's done is a little different. My wife grew up in the OCA, grew up in an OCA parish. So the way things are sung in her parish is different. Both the way they're sung by someone who's chanting in a solo way, or the way they're chanted chorally, is different than what you'd find in a Greek Orthodox parish. And similarly, in a Greek Orthodox parish, you'll find things chanted either in a monophonic Byzantine style, where everyone's chanting the melodic line together, or you'll find more of a Western polyphony in our Greek Orthodox churches, where you'll find the choirs and all the rest. One thing that's common across Orthodox churches is that music is used. We do things musically and not just read.
Why do we musically go about approaching our prayers and hymns as opposed to just reading them out in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's one that I've kind of found a new appreciation for in my context. So I'm going to answer this from the context of 21st century. We're here in America. Why is it that we chant things and not just read them? We have access to the text. We don't need to memorize the hymns, because at one point they were chanted because it's easier to memorize them that way. It's easier to memorize something sung than it is to memorize a bunch of read words. But there are other reasons. Right? One of the reasons I point out often in our communities is that when we read things, we really tend to give our own inflection to them. We tend to read our own meaning into things, and we can emphasize certain words and really put our own spin on it. So one of the things is that chanting was done to make the words clear, offered in a clear way, offered in an audible way, because when we sing, we typically use better breath support, and we typically articulate a little better. So it's easier to hear what's being said. And it takes away the opportunity to really drive home our own meaning. It's why even things like the epistle and gospel lessons are traditionally intoned instead of read, right? It's a little easier to kind of keep it neutral when we're intoning in a more simple way than if we read it and, we really want to drive home a point. We can really put our own meaning into the words. So there are a few reasons. Memorizing is definitely one of them. Everyone can relate to, and we have actually a parishioner here at the parish who's written extensively, James Caleris. He's written extensively on the earworm and how songs get stuck in your head. Well, the same applies to church music, right? We sing things because it gets stuck in your head. It doesn't come out. So that's, there are a lot of reasons, but those are some of them.
Once again, huge shout out to Father Niko for doing this call with us. And I linked his TikTok down below. Join us next week when we have more videos coming out in the next following weeks, more on this series. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and we'll see you next week.